You're listening to the Boxing Coalition.
And it just broke the guy's heart. The guy had nothing left, and he knew he couldn't last another 4 or 5 rounds.
Ricky Wars just smashed his soul.
What it is, let's get it.
Fuck that, get your piss, niggas. You hear me?
Let's get it.
Go kick his motherfucker.
Get that motherfucker in.
Let's see you do this. Little step back, bang, bang, bang. Little step back, bang, bang.
Bang, 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 bang. Try and stop it. Bang, bang. Here I come. Bang. You want to throw sometime? Bang.
Body shot. Boom, 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 boom. Go to the body. Kill that body. You took his nuts, now you gotta take his heart.
Yeah, take his whole soul away.
Yeah, get out of here, Gail. I'll see you later. Life's so incredible. Get out of here.
He was higher than a motherfucker. I'll tell you, he was stoned as fuck.
No, it's only a majority decision if there was an even score. There's no even score here. You're an official, right? You're an official of the state. Well, then you don't understand how to score.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. The crowd here on Fuego.
He's ready to be whooped, man. He's ready to be whooped. He's ready to be whooped.
Howard Foster stopped it. Wow. That is going to be controversial.
But you really liked to stand toe-to-toe with him in the 12th round, even if you thought you won the fight. It was on. Did you like that? I love you.
All right, welcome to a Christmas special of the Boxing Coalition. It's your boy Chemo. I'm here with Daniel. How are you doing, bruh?
Good, brother. Just here to chop it up about the great Oleksandr Usyk.
We had an amazing heavyweight fight over the weekend. We should definitely talk about it in depth. But let's start with maybe going into the fight. How did you feel this was going to go initially?
I think I was favoring Usyk, but I think I got kind of caught up in the pre-fight hype about Tyson and him coming in bigger, him having a better training camp, him not talking to his wife for 3 months, which is complete bullshit. But I was, I had flashbacks to the Deontay rematch, the second fight, when he came in, I think, at the same weight, and he was able to walk down Deontay. So I was caught up in that. So I thought it would be a closer fight, but I think what the results showed on Saturday was that all of that was a bunch of pre-fight bullshit. Or maybe not all of it, but I think more so just it just shows you how great Alexander is compared to somebody like Deontay Wilder.
I haven't spoken to my wife in 4 months.
Yeah, I think he said 3 months, but
Uh,
regardless, yeah, that's just a shitty father, to be honest.
It's just another one of those idiotic quotes from Tyson Fury, man. He talks a lot of shit, and I thought he was going to be more humble going into this fight, but obviously he wasn't. He
Yeah, what about you? Were you pretty set on Usyk winning pre-fight?
I mean, I was picking him, but I definitely wasn't that confident because whenever you're going up against a giant like Tyson Fury, uh, it's what do you call it, man? The laws of nature can always take place, right? I mean, normally a dude who can box with a little bit of skill like Tyson Fury should be able to beat a guy the size of Usyk, but yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like Tyson is just he's just become a little bit gun shy, and he thinks he's a bit more clever than he actually is. Like he thinks he can box really well, and to be fair, as a heavyweight that size, he can, right? He's kind of a slick operator, but you need a little bit more to beat an all-time great like Usyk, and he needed to press the action, and that was going into it. That's what I thought would be his key to victory, but as we'll explain later on, that's not quite what happened. So yeah. So what did you think of the fight, man? I thoroughly enjoyed it. By the way, I thought it was a very tense, strategic affair. I really was at the edge of my seat. How did you experience it?
Hmm. I thought it was technically great, but I wasn't on the edge of my seat for the second half of the fight.
Really?
No, were you?
Yeah, because I Usyk, even though he looks incredible in there, I always see this sort of vulnerability with him, right? Because he's so small as well. Like I'm always thinking, like, oh god, there's gonna come a moment where he gets hit to the body like he did against Dubois, or Fury just starts like pressing the action with. And there were little spurts where I was worried because I was rooting for Usyk, you know. But
Hmm.
yeah, no, I was always at the edge of my seat, man. Definitely. You thought he was like cruising away at some point after in the
I,
second half of the fight?
I mean, I think we were talking about it live. I think in the second half of the fight, we both agreed that Tyson didn't have steam on his punches. And when I saw him like turn southpaw, when I saw him miss with the straight right hand and resort to like a backhanded bitch slap, those pitter patter shots, like that's generally when I feel that a fighter doesn't really have it to pull the trigger. And yeah, I mean, I guess there is a size discrepancy, but it's not like he's fighting somebody like AJ, who is obviously much less skilled than Tyson, but he does have more power. And Tyson is a guy who, as big as the guy is, like he doesn't have like knockout power. I mean, of course, he could always land a good shot to the body, but I just think the condition that he was in, especially in the second of the half of the fight, I thought it was pretty much a kind of a done deal towards the later rounds.
I don't recall the exact rounds, but I do remember I think after the fourth or the fifth, he started breathing quite heavily and you could see that he was taking rounds off. But then he had a little bit of a second win in very small spurts, like he started throwing combinations again. But he didn't look completely gassed to me, and maybe he hides it quite well. But do you think that he was like just thoroughly exhausted and he just couldn't, or he was just hesitant because of Usyk's counter punching,
Yeah.
movement, and just feints like freezing him up?
Yeah, I mean that's like the question that you know only he can answer. But if I had to guess, I think it was probably the latter, and that he was hesitant because of what Usyk brought to the table. I mean, I was rewatching the fight, and the amount of like movement that Usyk just is able to like the amount of movement that he actually does in a 12-round fight at a high
Mm.
weight class, all the feigning, the up and down, changing like leverage, like he does the thing where he like he like squats. He goes high and then he goes low, high, low, high, low. Like he feints a jab to the body. He does this thing where like he like feints his lead hand as if like he's gonna throw a lead hook, and he does all that for 12 rounds, and like Tyson is wary of all of that. And Usyk may not be a big puncher, but he is extremely accurate, and when he lands it's generally pretty fucking clean. So I think Tyson was probably in decent shape. I mean, I thought he looked like physically he's always going to look like shit, but I thought it was more of what Usyk brought to the table than his general um condition. So just all props to Usyk.
Yeah, I do want to talk about his power later on, man, because that's something so fascinating to me that I don't really quite understand. Um, but yeah, it's very hard to tell with Fury in what kind of shape he's in, man. I mean, those shorts were all the way up to his fucking armpits.
Yeah,
He's always got that flab from being, I don't know, what was it, 300 pounds at some point.
right. I
So
think
he's got.
much more than that. Wasn't he like up to 400?
I don't remember exactly, but he looked like a fucking tub of lard at some point. But it, it's hard to say, right? He doesn't really have any definition. Look, does he? Is he standing there with his mouth open? Not really, right? He doesn't look completely exhausted like we see some other fighters. So in that sense, he probably was in decent shape, but you're still carrying that weight, right? The legs will still feel heavy at some point. And one thing we have to mention as well is the body work in this fight of Usyk was so disciplined, man. He was just every round committing to those body shots. And yeah, at some point, Fury probably had a little bit enough of it and subconsciously started lowering his hands. And then Usyk would come over the top with that beautiful fucking left hand, man. And it's like you said, that movement was just unbelievable, man. He's just always in motion. He's never standing still. I did notice, though, I don't know if you noticed that as well, that when he was going backwards, Usyk is, then Fury was having more success. I thought the moment that Usyk was able to come forward and do that little, side to side movement, that's what he was always connecting with the left hand. But if Fury was pressing the action, coming forward, making it a rough fight, That's when he had the most success in the fight, I thought, right? Especially the body shots.
Oh yeah, 100%. Usyk is not uh he's not a backwards fighter. But interestingly enough, like Tyson isn't a come forward fighter either. That's not really in his nature. So I think a lot of people were wondering like why isn't Tyson just moving forward and coming forward all the time? Well, it's because he's just not conditioned or programmed to be that kind of fighter. So even though it was in his best interest to do so, it's just hard to like recalibrate a fighter when that's not in their DNA. Like it's one thing to do it against Deontay Wilder, but it's another thing to do it against Usyk.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think he throws really good body shots. As in when he does that little half uppercut right to the chest, it's sharp, it's fast. I think he throws a decent body punch, but it's he just didn't do it enough. And again, you have to sort of press the action, get in the guy's chest to be able to do that, and he just refused. He just didn't
I
commit
wonder
to it.
though, did he land that shot in this fight and in the first fight when he was coming forward, or was that more of like mid distance on his back foot? Because I think Tyson is a pretty decent counter puncher.
Mm.
So I'm curious. I need to rewatch the fight, but I was rewatching the Deontay fight, the second fight, and like, yeah, it's easy for him to come forward against that fight because Deontay was hurt early. So he was providing no resistance like whatsoever. So Fury was just kind of like hopping around in the ring. Like you can't do that against Usyk, even though Usyk isn't like a great back like a fight on his back foot. Like he just didn't have that level of comfort. So, just easier said than done, man. I think like people have a hard time understanding like some people think like oh yeah coming forward is just easier because that's naturally what boxers do, but it's like nah man, like Tyson has always been a backwards fighter, so that's what he likes to do, that's what he prefers to do.
I've actually got the fight on in the background as we're talking, and I'm noticing that, as you said, that sometimes because of his long arms, he isn't really on the guy's chest and landing those body shots. So he can sort of do it at a mid to close range.
Yeah.
But I also feel like it's just the mentality, man. With Deontay, he probably had the feeling that look, if I stand in the mid range, that's when I'm in the most danger, right? That's when Deontay is gonna fucking load up on that right hand. I just need to get on the inside, and that's where I'm the safest, or all the way out. But yeah, then you're not gonna really score any points. So still, though, I feel like he wasn't willing to walk through the fire, and that's my biggest gripe with Fury is that he thinks that he's winning the fight, apparently, right? Because that's also what he's continuously saying. I didn't get the sense that his corner was very desperate. Yes, they were trying to say towards the tail end of the fight, like, "Hey, man, you got to go for it." You lost that last round, but there wasn't a sense of urgency. Like, "Hey, I need to go and press the action and crush this guy," right? And that to me is a big issue. It's you're outweighing the guy by how much? Is it like 30 pounds, 40 pounds,
60.
60 pounds?
Yeah, Usyk came in at 224. Tyson, well, no, probably 50, because right, Tyson was wearing all that bullshit, the jackets, boots, and all that shit. So I would say 50. Usyk came in
But
at 224.
but that's insane, man. Like, how can you? I don't know. When you're outweighing a guy by 50 pounds, you can't.
I agree, but at the same time, I think Tyson is just he's just such a fat fucking cunt. Like so much of that weight is it's not like good weight. It's like Roy Nelson weight, you know. He's just a fat piece of shit, man. And
That's a deep cut reference to MMA right there.
yeah, apologies to our boxing fanatics. But yeah, man, I just think a lot of that is just not a lot, but a little of it is overblown just because so much of that weight is not good weight at all. And I think another thing is that when Tyson, I think there was one round where Tyson was trying to like just like lean on Usyk like he did against Deontay, and Usyk
Yeah.
would do, he knows what he's doing. Like those Soviets, they train like clinches. Like Lomachenko did that all the time. Fury Usyk would do that thing where like when both of his arms were wrapped, like he would like kind of like do that tug up, like upwards, that
Mm,
wrestling shit.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
like he wasn't able to showcase that a lot, but it showed that he was at least prepared for it, if that's what it boiled down to. But Tyson just didn't, use that tactic, and again, probably because of his conditioning.
Oh man, I remember in the old days, we always, at least I say we, but I used to get very pissed off always about clinches and
Yeah,
fighters not knowing how to exit clinches. Well, if you're wondering, watch the way Usyk does it, right? From a much bigger guy as well. It's like you said, he had a couple of moves in there where he was able to separate himself again and just continue the fight. And
yeah, for
I don't know
sure.
if Tyson was doing that, by the way, because he wanted to, wear the guy down, or he was just knackered himself. I couldn't
Maybe.
really, obviously, it's hard
I
to.
mean, yeah, I love watching that shit, but it's like something that that boxing that most trainers, like especially in America, you go to a boxing gym in America, coaches do not train that at all. They don't know how to clinch. They don't know how to do any of that shit. So, it's I know you hate Andre Ward, but one thing that he did train was like clinches, and it's kind of a lost art. But if you know how to like combat it like Usyk does, like I
Mm.
enjoy watching that shit, man. It's like you shouldn't tense up your arms, just let them like lay low, and do that kind of like that jerky jerky type of movement that he does, and just get ready for. And well, another thing that Usyk does so great is that he's actually able to like shift from side to side. So if need be, he can kind of, pivot a little bit and throw a good body shot. But again, like that was such a small portion of the fight that it wasn't even much of a factor.
Yeah, he is an absolute phenom, man. I'm just in awe and how versatile the guy is, and how he's just taken it to these guys of that size, man. It's just it's unbelievable. It's Yeah, and the five fans that we have, they may recall that I used to be a bit of an Usyk hater back in the day, because he did have a very amateur focused style, right? He was fighting a bit, tap tap tap, move out of the way, especially the cruiserweight, and the way he's evolved his style is incredible. Um, to go from that to pressing the action against a guy that's outweighing you by like 50 fucking pounds, that's insane to me. And it just shows that he's got the whole package, right? He's got complete trust in his skills, complete trust in his chin as well. Um, yeah, I mean, when have we seen him hurt? I mean, yeah, okay, he got a little bit of a body problem versus Dubois, but that can happen to anybody, right? I don't recall him ever being clipped on the chin and really being hurt. I'm trying to think, has he ever? No, I don't think he has. Right? He's definitely not been dropped. That's for sure.
He might have at cruiserweight. I think when he
Yeah.
was fighting Dorticos, I recall him being hurt a few times. I need to rewatch that fight, but it's funny. He's had more competitive fights at cruiserweight than he has at heavyweight.
But why do you think that is? That I think it's just because he's gotten better, or maybe the heavyweight division just shows once again that it's just shit
See,
division.
I think it's both. I think he's gotten better, but I also think the heavyweight division is shit. And
Mm.
I also think he's just at heavyweight at this stage of like the how like poor the skill sets are of these heavyweights. Like his ability or his like natural boxing abilities are able to shine so much more than they were able to at cruiserweight. Like when he fought Gassiev, remember Gassiev was that up and coming guy, cruiserweight that everyone was scared of. Like he boxed circles around that motherfucker. He made him quit. Like I don't think
Yeah.
Gassiev ever fought afterwards. So like this is like him fighting Gassiev level fighters in terms of their skills, and he's just been able to showcase just how great he is.
Yeah, and maybe it's also a case of, you have these big brutes basically, right? I mean, you mentioned Gassiev. He was just a very big, strong guy, right? With
Yeah,
not a lot of agile movement or anything like that. I mean, okay, Fury maybe has a little bit of it, but in general, these guys are not exactly nimble. You know what I mean? And when you have a guy like Usyk, he just able to completely dominate the fight based on his footwork and his movement. It's just such a contrast.
yeah. I mean, we're gonna talk about this later. It's hard for me to say that Usyk is an all-time great heavyweight because the heavyweight division is so shitty. Like if we look at the heavyweights that he's fought, like it's what Dubois, AJ twice, Fury twice, and who else? Chisora. Like, come on, that's like fucking crazy.
Fucking Del Boy.
But I think when you look at it, when you look at his career holistically, and the fact that he's been able to be undisputed twice and a gold medalist, Like this guy's an all-time great for sure.
Well, I'm dying to talk about that. So maybe let's close on the fight itself first.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you noticed overall about the fight? Yeah,
I
neither guy really got hurt, unfortunately. Did you think?
unfortunately,
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to see some high drama, man.
I mean, you wanted one person to get hurt.
You know me, I'm a fucking Fury hater these days, man. I used to like the guy, but not anymore. It's
Yeah, you always were a hater against the. I remember you also hated on Lomachenko so much for his style, and I don't know.
no,
I
not the
think
style, not the style. It was the dick
because I
riding
don't know.
fans after like 7 fights that said he was the
Yeah,
goat. Basically, that's what really annoyed me.
okay.
Yeah, and then
So
Salido, even though it was a dirty ass fight, he did tax that ass. So
yeah, but in a second fight, like I don't know. That's a
I
different
mean,
discussion.
I love Loma, man. Don't get me wrong. Nowadays, I highly respect him. He's a pleasure to watch, right? Because he's both a boxer and an offensive machine. So I'm not
And
hating on Loma anymore.
yeah,
But
and it's interesting because it's kind of similar to what Usyk has been able to do is where Loma is so undersized that lightweight that just by necessity they have to be more offensive fighters. And credit to Loma's dad because I don't think he trains Usyk anymore, but I remember for a while I thought he was the head trainer of Usyk. So for him to be able to raise these two guys from like the amateur days to what they are now is just so impressive. And yeah, I mean, just like especially with everything that's going on in the Ukraine, like it's fucking badass to see these guys fucking repping for their country. Just like humble, like good people, man. Like Vlad too. Just they all seem like really those chill fucking guys. So that must be super cool for all of our Ukrainian fans. Like I know we have a ton of our listeners in the Ukraine, so shout out to you guys, man. Just keep doing what you're doing.
shout out to the brave
Yeah,
Ukrainians. It's true though, man. I mean, you never really have any drama around these guys, especially
no.
Usyk. He's always a bit the worst thing you could say about him is his funny trollish comments. But he never says anything bad about anybody. Um, he comes there to fucking scrap, and yeah, like you said, he's just a really, really humble,
Yeah.
likable guy. I mean, I see his face and I start fucking smiling. Like the that goofy little
Yeah.
that goofy little face of his with the gap teeth. It's just.
Yeah,
Shout out to his outfits though, man. That
incredible,
fucking
man.
oh
That purple shit that he had on, looking like fucking Prince with the white werewolf like Game of Thrones type of shit on his shoulder was fucking badass. And
yeah,
then the interviewer was like, "Hey, like Tyson has said that he hasn't spoken to his wife in 3 months. Is that also the case for you?" He was like, "No, I speak wife every day. My children every day."
Uh, man,
Yeah.
that's the same with the post-fight interview I was telling you about, where that dude was asking him like, "Oh, you've done so much in your career. What do you see yourself going next? What's the next path for you? Do you want to fight this guy? Do you want to fight that guy? What else can you do, Alexander?" And then he's like, "I can do more," and that
Isn't
was it.
wasn't that the fucking brown dude, the Packy bum?
He's not Paki, but
What is he?
I don't know, he's probably like English Jamaican or Nigerian or whatever. I don't
Oh,
know.
the guy who does a show with Ariel?
Yeah, the guy who has a job for no fucking
That
reason, but
fucking
he's
rat.
uh,
This fucking dude, I don't know if we're gonna talk about the zone commentary later, but it's absolute shit. Fuck off.
well, who did you have on the broadcast? I had Adam Smith from Sky. It was his first fight back on the zone, and I was
I
thrilled.
That's interesting. I think I don't even know who I had. It was a bunch of was it Adam and fucking Eddie Hearn?
Eddie Hearn on commentary?
Yeah.
No. Eddie Hearn doesn't do
Who
commentary.
was on your live?
I had Adam Smith, right? He talks slowly, Anthony Joshua, that guy, and I
Uh-huh.
had Spencer Fearon, the little hobbit from Talk Sport, and I had that old Box Nation commentator, the
Okay.
little
I
bald
think we had the same people, but just so biased. I mean, all UK dudes. And then they had AJ's live commentator. Like, why the fuck do we need AJ to score this fight? The guy who got
AJ
his
Square.
ass beat by fucking Usyk twice. It's
Dude,
fucking
I
funny.
fucking you see the little icon of AJ at the bottom in the tuxedo smiling, like AJ's scorecard. It's
Bro, the worst was when they fucking had Oscar. Oh no, when they had Dubois come in on the fourth round. They're like, Dubois, how do you see the fight going? He's just like, both guys are good fighters. Tyson had his moments. Usyk had his moments. Hard to say. It's like, thanks. Back to the team. It's like, my God, dude. I've like as an American, I've never like seen a UK person with Down syndrome, but I think Daniel Dubois is probably the first. Because he definitely has to have an IQ below 100. There's no way that it's over 100.
somebody tweeted that they thought that Dubois is highly autistic, and they're not even joking. And it's it might be that too. I don't know.
I mean, but no, I think
No, because he's very
autism.
happy,
No,
right? He's very happy-go-lucky.
exactly.
Yeah,
He's
it's
not
more
autistic.
he's
He's
more
retarded.
he's more on the downy side of things because those people are always in a
One,
good mood.
he reminds me a lot of like the UK Brendan Schaub. I know he's definitely retarded, man. There's like autistic people are like they're overly focused to the point where they're socially awkward. Like
Yeah.
Dubois is not that.
He's just happy to be there. He's just smiling, like it's just Frank was fucking egging him on, like, get in there, Daniel, get in the ring and call him out.
Yeah, we'll talk about Frank a little bit later, but all these UK cunts, like just a bad look for UK boxing, taking another massive L.
I
Yeah,
do agree with you though, man. The commentary was very biased, even though I love Adam Smith. But in general, everybody was really praising Fury. Like, oh, he looks so much better. Fury doing well. Like, dude, he's still losing the fight. What are we talking about? Come on.
yeah. I mean, that was my criticism of just UK boxing, like ever since the beginning of Coalition. Is like, yeah, the UK has great fans. It's great for the sport in terms of like putting on a show, but I hate all the fucking hoopla, all the talk bullshit narrative, and there's no boxing like nation that does that more than the UK, and it's really fucking annoying. Um, yeah,
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun, man.
yeah, and they had like the UK is like the Dallas Cowboys of boxing. Another deep cut, but just all talk and very little like in the ring success.
I don't think that's a deep cut, but most people know that the Cowboys ain't shit. But the Dallas Cowboys,
But
yeah, man.
yeah, just weird, man. And having Oscar, coked out Oscar with his fucking female sunglasses on, like, bro, you're watching a fight. Why do you have your sunglasses on, dude? Like, what the fuck are you doing? I think he had Fury up 3 rounds after the seventh. I'm like, what are you fucking watching, man? Like, as great as Oscar is, and as much as he's accomplished, like, he's just pissing me the fuck off so much lately. Like, yeah, his clapback Thursdays are great. Like, hey, it's me, your favorite promoter, back on Thursday. But it's like, bro, you are just such a fucking lunatic. Like, you have to behave more professionally. It's just
Yeah, but come on, man. The guy's just living his best life. I mean,
no, he's not, dude. Not anymore. Come on,
he
man.
is, dude.
Have you seen his wife or his girlfriend?
I just remember some plastic broad sitting next to him, but
Fucking no, fuck, man. I mean, I'm Team Canelo, so I can't be a fan
you
of
used to
Oscar.
be.
No,
You
I
used to
still
be.
am. When it comes to the rivalry against Oscar, I'm definitely Team Canelo all day. But
Now you're fucking Team Georgia, Team Taporia all of a
yeah,
sudden.
we'll talk about that later, but for sure. But
Nah,
yeah, man, I think nothing else from me on the fight itself. But
yeah, just a beautiful display of boxing skill and
yeah,
shout out to Usyk. But let's talk about his legacy then, man. Look, I think what makes Usyk for me one of the all-time greats is that there is a serious lack of cherry picking fights. And that's what sets him apart from your Mayweathers, from even from your, you and I are both Pactards. That sets him apart from Pacquiao. Sets him apart from a lot of people. It sets him apart from Roy Jones, right? Who did something very similar. He just faces the best guys in the fucking division, right? And he beats them multiple times, and they're much fucking bigger than him, for real, right? There's no fuckery with weight cuts. Again, Pacquiao, Mayweather. They've all done that kind of bullshit. When has Usyk done something like that? No, he just gets in the fucking ring with a guy who's absolutely huge and he beats his ass. That is one of the most genuine accomplishments in boxing, where there is so much fuckery all the time. So that's what, for me, right? Regardless of, you say AJ's a bomb, whatever, I don't care. You can still, rate the guy for the way he's conducted himself in his career and against who's the champion. I mean, he's undisputed at fucking heavyweight, bro. He didn't go up to Ruiz and steal a fucking heavyweight belt like some other people did. It's I don't know. Regardless of what you think of this era, the guy is an absolute stud, and he yeah. I mean, I sound like a broken record, but he conducts himself with integrity, right? And that shows on his resume. There is no asterisks anywhere.
Yeah, it's
Thoughts?
It's a no, it's a very well presented argument. And
Yeah.
no, I'm serious. I didn't think about it from your like the way you laid it out in terms of there's no weight training, there's no rehydration clauses, there's none of that bullshit. And I was going to like, because I was trying to be contrarian and say something like, "Oh yeah, but the quality of opposition isn't there." And I think we both agree that the heavyweight division isn't solid right now. But when we are talking about what pound for pound means, I think Usyk is as close of an accurate embodiment of what that term means because when you're jumping from cruiserweight to heavyweight, you can't really you can't define that in terms of how many pounds he's moving up because it's just there's no threshold when it
Mm.
comes to heavyweight fighters. He's literally fighting guys who are 40 to 50 pounds bigger than him. So when I think Pac would be the closest argument for him to be able to jump from 108 to 147. I don't count the Margarito fight, but what he's been able to do in a very short period of time because he turned pro at 26. I was just looking at his Wikipedia. He had 350 amateur fights. He went 335 and 15 in his amateur career. He turned pro at 26 and he became undisputed in two weight classes. Um, and at the highest weight uh, possible in heavyweight. So I think you can make an argument like to try to make his career less like astounding than it is, but I think it's actually easier to argue that he's an all-time great than the fact that he isn't.
But let's also be honest, right? Like Pac and Mayweather, for example, and I give other examples. They 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 also had very tactical opponent selections, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna fight this guy because he's kind of he just lost. He's just coming off a big loss, and his morale is down. Or I'm fighting this guy because he's at the tail end of his career, like Pacquiao, De La Hoya, with a weight train as well. Like there's always something going on that favors the matchup, right? Can you name one example in Usyk's career that's had that? No.
I'm trying to think.
There isn't. I mean,
No,
he took part in a fucking tournament where there's no escaping anybody, right? He fought AJ twice. He fought Fury twice. He could have easily walked away, right? I'm like, I'm not gonna fight this giant twice. Like, why am I gonna do that? You think somebody like Mayweather would do that shit? No way, bro.
I think I would compare that to like Canelo Golovkin, but
Yeah, but you
yeah,
shit on Canelo's resume.
do I need to explain myself? I mean, look at his recent string of opponents. I think it's pretty easy to shit on his opponents.
Okay, but there you go.
Yeah,
That's
no, I'm
another
not
name.
arguing
It's
with
another
you.
one. It's another name that people have in high regard. Okay, I don't think people call Canelo an all-time great, but
I
still,
mean, we thought he was at the trajectory that he was going at super middleweight until the shit that he's pulling off these last 3 years, right? Which is so disappointing. But yeah, I mean, there's no counter argument. It's just subjective at this point. It's like you can denounce Usyk for the state of the heavyweight. I mean, I just think it's hard to like. I don't know. It's hard to shit on Usyk, but at the same time, it's hard for me to heap praise on guys like AJ and Fury at this stage of their careers. I just think, but again, like you're not going to hear me say anything bad about Usyk. So
I'm not saying you said this, by the way, because I know you're a bit more wise than that. But there were a lot of people. Let's not forget there were a lot of people that were up Fury's ass at some point in his career. Right? People were hailing this guy as the second coming of Jesus because he's so like such a massive man who was able to move. Like, how does he move and box like that? Like everybody was praising this guy, right?
I mean, I was too. I thought
Yeah.
I'm probably higher on Fury than you are.
Everybody was saying this guy was a generational talent just based upon what he's able to do physically, right? And he might be. By the way, I want to be fair as well. Like it is amazing what he's able to do in a physical sense, right? From a guy that stature. But
I
he,
kind of, I don't know. I actually, so that's where I don't give Fury that much credit is I think people are on his nutsack in terms of how he can like move for his weight class, but how effective is it really?
against guys like Wilder,
Like Klitschko, I thought was fantastic, right?
yeah, but he
To me,
barely threw
that's
punches. There was no offense in that fight.
yes, but still, like if Tyson never did all the partying, never did all the coke, like maybe that's the version that we see for the duration of his career. But man, when you like, it's so hard to say because we're just like nitpicking at this point. But like, bro, like Deontay Wilder from a boxing IQ and skill perspective is a fucking bum. So it's like if those like if that's the opponent that you are most known for, it's like man, it's really hard to kind of gauge how great of a heavyweight he is.
Wow, you just took a big dump on Deontay, dude.
I mean, come on, man. His boxing ability is egregious. Egregious.
uh, how would you rate AJ in terms of his boxing ability?
Just if Deontay is like a 3, then AJ is like a 4.
Nah, dude.
Yeah, bro. I mean, AJ like is there's nothing more comical than seeing like a fucking large, beautiful black man just walk around like a Bambi deer, after he gets clipped. It's crazy, man. That just shows you there is a God, man. No man can be perfect. You feel me?
Yeah, you're not gonna be born with that size of genitalia and not get something else taken away. That's what you're saying, I guess.
Yeah, it's like you can't be blessed everywhere, bro. That's just not fair.
Dude, you got to be real though, man. I mean, AJ said it in his post-fight meltdown. He's like, "Oh, everyone is saying, why doesn't he throw punches like I'm a fucking middleweight? I'm a big boy." Whatever the hell he said. That was
Against Usyk?
yeah. He said something along those lines after
Ishbala.
hip hip hip
It's
hip.
so funny that people just give him a pass because
I forgot.
because he's like more like PC than somebody like Tyson Fury. Like AJ is just equal. You know what, man? I prefer Fury over AJ, like personality wise. Like sure, Fury's a cunt and he says stupid shit, but at least he's real, man.
Yeah, that's not a stretch though.
Okay, well, all right. I just thought you were more Team AJ than Team Fury, but I just think Fury's the
Fuck
lesser of two.
no,
I think
man.
Fury's the lesser of two evils, man.
Fury is at least funny. Like
Yeah,
when
at
he went up to
times.
AJ and he talked about him having a big cock, like that's fucking hilarious, right?
Yeah, and that just shows you his insecurities as well. But
I would have loved to see like a zoom in of his wife as he was saying that,
yeah, I
but
mean, who knows, man? AJ might have a tiny penis, or we don't know that.
well, okay, we don't need to derail the conversation, but I there look this I love fight build-ups, right? You hate that shit. You don't care about press conferences and any of that. I watch if it's a fight I'm interested in, I will watch everything. I watch the press conferences, I watch the interviews on IFL TV. I watch everything. But with AJ, I cannot sit through 2 minutes of the guy. It's just unbelievably boring and so scripted and so fake.
Yeah.
There's moments where he gets real, like against Dubois, but that's it. That's very short. And that meltdown he had versus Usyk after the fight, that's just I think that's him just suppressing his own identity and his own instincts so much that it just comes out in a meltdown at some
Oh,
point.
for sure. that's like a suppressed like religious person just having a fucking meltdown.
Yeah, having a bender in Tijuana.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. It's a Catholic girl basically going to college.
Or somebody just on Reddit too long and just ended up, shooting a school or killing a healthcare CEO.
A K-pop fat fan. Just
Yeah. Could you imagine if AJ was on like the Reddit like small dick problems thread?
nah, mate. He likes BBW, innit?
Yeah, but anyways, I don't know what we were talking about, but
We were talking about hip hip.
okay. So, oh yeah, another one. I actually kind of like Ben Davidson as a trainer, but fuck that guy, that fucking rat. Did you see that clip where Tyson was exiting the ring and he was like, "Ben, how'd you score it?" He said, "I don't know, Tyson." You do the impression, but he was just basically saying like, "I thought it was close, and I thought you just nicked it at the end." Like, shut the fuck up, man. This guy fucking sacked you as a trainer, and you don't even have the balls to say what you really feel. Like, come on, bro. Fucking clown shit.
Well, I mean, speaking of, there were a lot of people that had absolutely atrocious scorecards, which I simply don't understand. There were a lot of people, even the ones that I respect, that had it a draw.
Like who?
Carl Frampton, I think we both respect him.
Yeah, okay, but
I had it a draw. I'm like, what? What did AJ's scorecard have? He had also, I think he had Usyk up wrong round, if I remember.
yeah, but his scorecard doesn't even make sense because he
I mean,
had it.
I'm a
Yeah.
TalkSport fanboy, and a lot of people had it a draw on TalkSport. So I don't understand it. Maybe it's
Yeah.
bias, and I
Right.
don't
Yeah.
know if it is bias because, to be honest, most of these people have been shitting on Fury for a long time, right? Like they don't like Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is not universally loved, so I don't think it's necessarily a British bias. Like for example, Fury refuses to do interviews with Talksport. He hasn't done an interview with them for like 2 years. He's blacklisted them. So I don't think they're like it's a favorable like sort of Ricky Hatton situation where he can do anything and they would love it. Uh, I don't understand it. I think people are just fucking blind.
But are they still very nationalistic?
Of course, of
So
course.
when it comes to as much as they don't like Tyson if he fights a foreigner, will they always side with the Brit?
I don't really know, mate. It's complicated. We need to do a little bit of a sample check with our British coalition community.
Yeah, all two of them, all
Well, I
three
know
of them.
Leon fucking hates Fury, so he definitely didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, he borderline says some really wild shit. So
Who do you think Leon would favor in a AJ versus Tyson fight? Not in terms of who's gonna win, but who he's rooting for.
I think he hates Fury more because of the mental health thing. I think that really rubs Leon the wrong way, and rightfully so. By the way, I mean I can understand that. He always
Uh,
tweets about that shit, and he's just yeah. I think with Brian King, he would probably favor Fury more because he hates Eddie Hearn and AJ more than anything in the world. He's fucking obsessed. It's fucking
Bro,
obsessed. Well,
Twitter is such a dark place.
it's so, dude. Honest to God, right? If I had to count the amount of times I have seen a Connor Ben tweet with a response of Brian King saying "You're a junkie cheat," I think I've seen it at least 80 times already. It happens like every time there's a tweet, it's like you're a junkie cheat, you're a junkie. It's like it's absolutely relentless. These trolls are just out of control, but I do enjoy it secretly.
It's not good for your mental health. Speaking of, Twitter is not good for your mental.
No, it's not. It's not. It's become a scary place, but it's another
Yeah.
rabbit hole topic. But yeah, I guess we can agree then. Maybe top five all time heavyweights or top 10. What do you
Dude,
say?
I can't answer that question, man. I'm a fucking boxing noob. I don't know anything about the history of heavyweights.
Dude, the gravitas of this victory, it warrants a conversation like this.
Yeah, but is
I
this
think it's
really
apropos that we discuss it.
it may be apropos, Kareem, but is it really quid pro quo?
That's a legal term, bro. Isn't that what Johnny Cochran said?
I mean, I'm not trying to impose a red herring in this discussion of ours, but I think we need the full gamut of experiences to be able to speak on such a topic.
Sorry, I don't even know what gamut means. What does that
I
mean?
don't even. I think it's like an X-Men character, but
That's Gambit. It's the guy.
Gambit.
It's the guy with the.
I think a gamut is just like the entirety, but I could also be speaking out of my ass. But
Dude, don't
I
fuck
don't
with
know,
me,
man. I
this
think this
man.
heavyweight topic is fucking. I think it's fucking stupid, man. Like if we really want to compare like guys like Muhammad Ali, Foreman, and all those guys, like I'm I just don't. I'm generally like not a fan of people like talking about their eras because generally like older people embellish how great like certain athletes were. Like it happens in football and basketball all the time. So I don't know, man. Who fucking knows?
Well, I mean, you're obviously comparing like almost what is it, 80 years of fucking boxing achievements, but I have just on a general sense, I think he's up there, man. I stand by it. I think it's at the least top 10 heavyweight of all time. At the minimum, I would probably say top five.
In terms of skill or in terms of accomplishment?
Both.
I mean,
I mean,
really, in terms
you
of
can't deny.
accomplishment, because the accomplished one speaks more on his opposition.
Look, okay, hang on. Let me be critical to myself, right? There's an argument to be made that he's never been in the ring with people as skilled, for example, as you would see in a Bo versus Holyfield fight, right? I would totally take that argument. But again, there's many different factors, right? They're also not as big as the opposition that he's faced. He didn't have to overcome because this is really like David versus Goliath type of shit, right? And
Yeah,
they're legit guys, not the fucking ogre that David Hay fought. What was the name of that guy again?
yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know.
That Lord of the
But
Rings troll.
I think the argument for Usyk then is not necessarily that like, oh, he's a top 10 heavyweight in terms of accomplishment. I would just like to view it more as the entirety of his career, like holistically. That's what makes his career so impressive is everything he's accomplished. So,
Yeah, fantastic
but
guy.
okay. Yeah, I think we both agree that he's an all-time great, and anybody who thinks otherwise can go fuck themselves.
And he's an absolute ambassador to the sport. There's no reason to dislike the guy. He's a pleasure to watch. Uh, yeah, just tremendous guy.
Yeah,
You want?
he's
Speaking of tremendous guys, you want to talk about little fish eyes Frank Warren? You had some thoughts on him?
just a cunt. An absolute cunt. I mean, I don't know UK boxing, so like Frank Warren to me is I don't understand like what his importance is. I mean, I know he's a promoter for what is it, Frankbury, Queensbury, whatever that shit is called.
Queensberry Promotions.
Yeah, I just think of like Jam when I think of the name of that promotion, but like yeah, he's just to me it's just it's funny when people complain about scorecards being wide. But it's like, motherfucker, do you really think he won? Like, forget about how wide the scorecards were. Like, do you really think he won that fight? And if not, then just shut the fuck up. Just let the man have his shine. Like who cares? Like, it's like when Bob Arum was complaining about after Taylor versus Catterall, right? He was interjecting about the scorecards being wide, but it's like, yeah, motherfucker, he still clearly lost. So what are we arguing about here? Like, yeah,
It
it
almost
was.
seems to be like political with promoters that there's no way in hell that they're going to be caught on camera giving a realistic take, even though a fight could be 12-0 and they'll still be like, I thought it was a close fight. Yeah, I thought it was pretty close. It was competitive. It's like, bro,
Yeah,
you can just admit that your fighter had a bad day, right? There's
sure.
nothing wrong with that. It doesn't
Yeah,
do any damage to the reputation. In fact, it makes it look more credible. Like just
100%. Dude,
you
it's like I think Eddie is probably the closest in terms of being like keeping it real. Like I think he had a clip like a few weeks ago where he had a couple of prospects lose and he was just basically saying like, yeah, these guys just aren't good as, what we thought they were. And it's better to keep it that way than just to kind of come off as a political pawn, but I think yeah, it's just, but it's also like, dude, boxing fans are fucking retarded, right? They're like fans of promoters nowadays. Like, remember when Queensbury was fighting Eddie's Matchroom? They're like, "Oh, Queensbury 5060." I was like, "Who gives a fuck, bro?" Like, if a
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
dude, if you give a fuck about shit like that, just means you're a fucking moron. Like, I can go 0 and 100 to like another promotion, but if I'm putting on the best fights, that's all that matters, right? And like these people are just like dick riding like promoters. It's fucking insane.
There's a lot of people that hate certain promoters, though, right? There's a lot of people that hate Eddie Hearn simply because of his personality and that he's
Yeah,
always out there in the media and all that. So,
I mean, he's a good-looking guy, man. He's a tall, good-looking white dude. Like, of course, there's gonna be haters,
yeah, I don't know. He's also very confident in what he does, but
and rightfully so, man. He's a very good speaker.
yeah, but I don't really give a fuck what he does, right? It's about his fighters in the ring, and if a guy if a guy is aligned to him, that doesn't mean that I have to hate the fighter as well, right? It has absolutely fuck all to do with the same. So.
Yeah, and maybe this is not what we're talking about, but I think Eddie does the best job in making people care about his fighters and his fights. Like he's the best. And that's not saying much because all the other promoters are shit, but at least he cares enough to create a narrative about his fighters.
Well, yeah, but we also have to give Riyadh season credit, right? I mean, they've changed the game, man.
I mean, that's another topic. I mean, the great Luke Thomas has doubts about the separation of government and state when it comes to boxing. I don't know. Is this something that's really sustainable, and is it healthy for the state of our sport?
Is that you want me to honestly answer that, or?
Yeah, if you want to.
I don't know to what degree it is sustainable. I mean, I lived in that region, and they've done this with many sports, right? They've done it with golf, they've done it with Formula One, and those were moved over there many years ago, and it's still, they're still continuing to pump money in it. I have no idea what the financial return on those events is, especially with the boxing. Like it seems like the amount of money these guys are getting. Uh, I don't think they're making money off of it. Just a wild guess. Um, so again, I don't know to what the longevity is of this business model. Um, But my only gripe with it is the atmosphere and the location of the fights. That is literally the only thing. Otherwise, boxing fans, I don't think they can really bullshit. They can really bullshit or complain about this because you're getting the fights you wanted, right? You've been robbed of matchups for your entire existence. And now you're just having a guy who's willing to put so much money on the table that all of the fighters are just like, oh, okay, I'll take it. It's undeniable how much cash there is at stake. So I'm not really complaining, bro, and I don't really give a fuck about sport washing or anything like that. Boxing is a let's not forget, right? Boxing originated in like the mafia days, right? So do we really give a fuck? I mean, this is not a sport full of integrity. I don't know why people care. You dig?
Yeah, I agree. I don't give a fuck about I'm apolitical when it comes to sports. I don't give a fuck about what people believe in, if they're corrupt, whatever the fuck it may be. I just want to see the fights, and to be honest, like these aren't even fights that I think would be like huge events in the UK or the US. I don't even know what people are really complaining about. And I actually think the build up to these fights are getting better. I think the crowds are getting better. Like this fight in particular, the start time was much more reasonable than it was in previous fights. So
Mm,
I think they're improving. And I think it is sustainable because, that those countries, there's an endless, not endless, but it appears to be an endless a supply of cash.
mm.
And if they're willing to front this for just the biggest fights in boxing, then it's good for the sport. And like, their next major card with Beterbiev and Bivol, like that card is amazing. It's stacked. Uh, just nothing but great fights on that undercard. So, I think Turkey is good for boxing. I'm never gonna call him His Excellency because that's what a fucking fag would do. But he's he's good for boxing, man. Props to him.
Dude, you're gonna get us banned on YouTube, man.
Really?
But when is that fight, Beterbiev Bivol?
February.
Yeah, I mean, this is another example, right? This was hailed as the best fight in boxing, right? From a technical, competitive point of view. Agreed, right? But
Which one?
Bivol Beterbiev.
Okay.
If you,
Beterbiev stopped Usyk, by the way. Did you know that in the amateurs?
I don't think I knew that. No.
Yeah.
No, but my point is, like, would we get, for example, that caliber of a fight back to back 5 years ago? Probably not. Maybe in that particular division because nobody gives a fuck about uh, them really in terms of popularity, right? I mean, ask any mainstream boxing fan who Beevil is; they probably don't know. But my point is, we're just getting a lot of sick matchups, right? And we're getting rematches of sick matchups. It's just a nice time to be around as a boxing fan. And I also agree with you. I have to give credit where it's due. The overall event, sort of the crowd atmosphere, it was a lot better this time, and it also looked like a big crowd. It looked like a major event, and that hasn't always been in the past. I remember the first time they did that in Riyadh. It was like they had a tiny little artificial arena. There were like 12 Saudi guys out there. There was no buzz, and this time it felt like there was a buzz. It still does not compare to the Manchester Arena. It never will. Uh, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. The British fans are one of the best in the world, maybe the best.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's good times, man. I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, and the upcoming Beterbiev undercard is fucking amazing. It was supposed to have Virgil Ortiz versus Boots Crawford or Jerron Ennis, but that fell apart because of like Boots being a bitch. But Turkey is still trying to make these fights happen, and they're stacked cards. So they're yeah, it's good for the sport, man. But you know how boxing fans are, man. Like boxing fans, like we enjoy the drama. Like it's the
Yes.
opposite of the UFC. Like we like the shit. Like it gives like fucking bum ass dudes who live with their parents like talking about finances and shit, and they haven't even graduated from high school. Like we love talking about this shit. So that's always going to be something that I think is going to keep boxing around.
Yeah, boxing fans are kind of masochists in a way. If there isn't at least a couple of highway robberies throughout the year that they can scream and bitch about on Twitter, then it hasn't been a good year, right? Like you said, they need the drama, right? They feed off of the drama, and I feel like it's almost what do you call that? What do you call that syndrome where you fall in love with
Oh,
somebody?
with your like torture.
Yeah, what is that word?
Fuck.
No, with your prisoner basically, and then you fall in love
Yeah.
with basically the guy who's trapped your ass.
Yeah, or torturing you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking
something
about.
syndrome, but you know what I mean, right? It's that. It's like we've gotten so accustomed to this bullshit that we don't want it to change, right? Or God forbid we have a well-run league like the UFC, right? I mean, just imagine that you have number one fighting number two, and then number two fighting number three,
All
etc.
the time.
Yeah, all the fucking time, like every month. That would just be too good to be true, right? Just imagine you had that in boxing. It's almost unimaginable, right? It's so far off the radar screen. Like it just we can never just have that, and we don't want it. We like the drama. Punish us more, please.
Yeah,
Uh,
boxing fans are the incels of the sports fans. And like the
uh,
NFL and other sports are like the Chads or the Tyrones. We are the incels.
that is true. UFC fans are way more chatty, right?
Oh, 100%. They're just like trying to get puss all the time.
I just want to drink beer and see some blood and like Just
Yeah.
fucking throw down, bro, in my Affliction t-shirt. It's yeah, we're a bit more nerdy than
Oh, it's Stockholm syndrome.
Stockholm syndrome. Thank you very much. Did you just Google that, or did it come to you?
No, it just came into my head, of course.
All right, all right. All right, I think we've exhausted this fight for what it is. Did you watch that other heavyweight, by the way, on the undercard?
Yes, I
The
did.
British one.
Yep. Dave Allen versus what looks like
No,
his
no, no,
twin
no, no.
brother.
No. I'm not talking about Dave Allen, mate. The other sort of light skinned black dude that was fighting on the card, the British
Oh,
guy.
something Ortopea?
Yeah, what was his name? Moses or something?
Yeah, or like
I'm such a fucking casual these days. I can't
I
even
was gonna
remember.
say that was very racist.
I can't even remember the names of these fucking people.
Malabong.
Malibu. It is not Malibangwe. He did. No, no, hang on.
My sandals.
No, let's not go down that route. But hang on, let me look up the name. He's, by the way, he's kind of a dick in interviews. I think you might enjoy the guy.
What's his name?
His name is, I've got it here, Moses Itoma.
Oh damn, you were close.
Moses Itoma versus Dempsey McKean. He fought this massive Australian guy, and the Brits are hyping this dude, man. They are saying this guy's the next coming of Jesus. They're basically on Gareth A. Davis was saying, I give him like 2 years heavyweight champion of the world, if not sooner. He's got everything. He's got speed, resilience, power. I mean, they love this guy. Moses Itoma. When I watched this fight, he knocked the guy out in like one round.
Okay.
And he's good, but he looks very small. So I don't know how far he will go in the division. But if you watch an interview with him, he's super dry. You know, like he doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to give interviews. He just wants to get in the ring and knock people the fuck out. So I kind of enjoy it. But he's kind of a dick, which I think aligns a little bit with your personality. You feel me?
Yeah, I guess like after what happened to Dubois, we can't really be dismissive of UK heavyweights anymore.
Okay, but do you think Dubois still needs to prove himself?
Um, no. I don't think he needs to prove himself for me to believe that he's a good heavyweight fighter.
All right, I feel you on that. I still
And
think he's vulnerable. I mean, I used to be a Dubois hater as well, right? But
and
the way he iced AJ is just you're forever goat status because of that.
and I just think we can't ever take away what he's been able to the positive impact and him being able to shine light and give hope to the retarded community. We can never take that away from him.
We call those special kids now, Daniel, not the R word.
Okay, the special kids.
But yeah, he's done a lot. He's done a lot for that community. So I do agree. He's just a fun guy, man.
Yeah,
Dubois.
I mean, let's talk about his post-fight interjection.
Usyk, Usyk. I want my rematch. I want my no. He said, I want my revenge. Especially do we use a word like revenge when you're
Yeah,
just
and then he was like, didn't he say like Frank? Like he mentioned Frank, and it just reminded me of like a kid in kindergarten asking for his dad to help him with something.
oh man, it's amazing. But honestly, God though,
Mhm.
there you couldn't have come up with a better response than Usyk, right? He just looked over. I think he said, I don't know if he was calling Turkey or somebody else or Frank, but he's like, Turkey, make the fight against Daniel. Period. Done. It's like, and then Daniel was just like standing there, like, oh, well, I guess that worked.
Yeah.
It's just what a fucking stud, man, Usyk. Just love it. That's the best thing you can say, because most guys will be like, talk, we go back to the drawing board, and I want to, if it's right, if the situation is right, if the money is right, they always come up with some bullshit answer, and Usyk just says, make the fight with Daniel. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's I just feel like Usyk doesn't have anything to prove anymore. So I mean, honestly, dude, he should retire.
I agree. I
He
don't think
should
you should.
retire. He has nothing left to prove.
Why would you fight a fucking dangerous puncher who's young, up and coming, who's got momentum? You've already beaten him. You've just done like an incredible thing once again. How old is he? 35, right?
No, he's 36.
30. I mean, come on, man.
I mean, you know what would be the most badass move for him though? It would be to go back down to cruiserweight.
Yeah, but why though? I don't understand.
I'm just saying, of all the options that he has, I think it'd be fucking badass if he could just show people like, yeah, I went a heavyweight because I could, but I could actually still make cruiserweight. But
I don't think that's
if I
bad.
were his manager or promoter, I'd be like, yeah, just finish on top, bro.
Yeah, you don't go back down, man. That never works out well for any fighter, unless you're doing it because you really miserably failed, right? But just no, man. You got accustomed now to heavyweight. You got accustomed to your body,
Fair.
fighting at such a weight. Just
Yeah.
let yeah.
And cruiserweight is just a god awful division. So yeah,
I don't see the point of it.
he needs to retire. Straight up.
35 years old, perfect legacy, perfect ending, go out on top. Boxing is a ruthless sport. When you push your luck, it always backfires, right? So, yeah, bro. I mean, just imagine how much fucking goddamn money this guy's made, man.
Yeah,
Just
man.
enjoy your family. He's a family guy, right off in the sunset. And yeah, use your money for good, man. Help out rebuilding of Ukraine at some point. Like, just do some cool shit, but don't get brain damage now. Don't fight Lemmy, man. Lemmy's a strong dude.
Lenny is.
He's I bet most of these fucking listeners, all 12 of them, don't know who Lemmy is.
Yeah, of mice and men. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, get your literature game up, huh?
Yeah, bro. If you want to be a high value male, bro, you have to read books, man.
At 5 a.m. in the morning after a cold shower.
Yeah, and then you have to go to garage sales on the weekends to try to get as much money as possible.
You, I don't know why Gary V wasn't at the fight. The fuck, man?
He's a fucking badass, dude.
He was probably executing at that point. The
Yeah, brother.
VCon, dude.
Let's do it. Let's do the coalition con, bruh. We'll meet up. We'll meet up in Brooklyn at the
Who
James
would
Barber shop.
realistically show up at a coalition con?
Well, I don't think our listeners. Well, I mean, they're probably most of our listeners are in the UK, so we'd have to do it in the UK, right?
I mean, we'll probably get El Camino Electric Services to sponsor.
Okay. We could
If
make a
that
meme
fucking
coin.
bum Abe ever replies to my DMs,
We could make a meme coin as well.
coalition coin,
Yeah.
just fucking rug pull everyone after.
Yeah. We'll rob people like $60 total.
Ugh.
But we can dream. But
Yeah, we'll give some perks. When you buy the coalition coin, you get first access to the episodes. Early access.
early access to
I
our
never understood that concept of like a Patreon. Like, yeah, you sign up to the Patreon now for $5, you will get early access to the
yeah.
episode. It's like, yeah, well, that will make me want to chill out.
I mean, you would be amazed how many people fucking subscribe though, man.
Yeah, I get doing it out of the support, out of the kindness of your heart, but to do it because of early access is fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's like instead of Monday, we'll let you listen to our podcast on Friday. It's like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
fantastic.
It's an incredible incentive. But yeah, I don't think we're gonna do that Patreon anytime soon. I think we got a lot of Dubai money funding our production. So
Bro,
we're
I'm
good.
telling you, man, if I told you this so many times, if we started like a combat sport channel and we show our faces and I would refrain from using the word fag, I think we could make some not serious money, but at least enough money to live in Thailand and get some Thai hookers every once in a while, you know?
Yeah.
So just think about it. Or it could be in Colombia or Brazil, you know.
I don't know, man. I mean, speaking of like people being past our prime, we're way past our fucking prime.
Speak for yourself, bro. Come on, man.
Dude, come on. We went from being recognized in New York to like doing an episode like once every 2 years.
Bro, we were recognized in New York in the East Village with I mean I won't say who exactly, but people like thought that we were like vandalizing property, bro. Like I've never felt more bummy in New York City than I did.
Wait, who thought we were vandalizing?
Come on, bro. We were like, remember there were some dudes like posing in front of a car. I felt like such a fucking nah, come on. If that's what you call a
Are you
prime.
talking about me pissing on those condos or what are you
No, no,
talking?
no, no. There was remember we were at the TBV event. I never felt like a bigger bum in my life.
Nah, dude, that was fun.
Nah, it's pussy shit.
Don't talk shit. We would have never met if it wasn't for TV, right? Don't talk shit.
That is true, actually, yeah.
Our entire what was it, 15-year friendship is all started with TBV, dude.
Uh, Yeah,
Could
that's
it?
or hypothetically, we also did meet on Grinder, as we disclosed to that beautiful Japanese bartender.
No, she said Tinder. She didn't say Grinder.
Well, how would two men meet on Tinder?
You can select to meet men on Tinder.
So why not just go straight to Grinder?
I think Tinder is a bit more. I mean, Tinder is a dirty place, but it's still a little bit more dating. Like Grinder is really a hookup.
Okay,
You just if you want to fuck, you just go on Grinder within two
I'm
seconds.
down. Let's do it. GrinderCon.
I'm glad you're finally coming to terms
My
with your
sexuality.
sexuality. Yeah.
Yeah, I am in Brazil, so it's time to accept it.
I don't even know where this conversation is going. Oh, man, is there anything you're excited about with boxing? Because we're talking about a
I
lot of
am, but
bullshit.
you're a fucking casual, man.
Yeah, so educate me, dude.
So
I'll tag
David
along.
David Benavidez is fighting a guy named David Morrell. The
Who's David
fight's
Monroe?
which is crazy. You don't even know who that is. He's a Cuban Olympian.
I don't.
Also fought at 168. It's a really good matchup, but just not getting any buzz at all. I think it's these PBC fighters are just they're fucked. Like PBC is just by and far the worst promotion. You know, they have this Gervonta fight fighting some fucking bum, and the
Oh,
fight is up in the air. So I don't even know how PBC is fronting the money for these fights.
but
But
I don't think it has anything to do with PBC. It's just
I no, I think it definitely does. I think it's
no, it's
on
just a mindset, dude.
no, it's on PBC as well. I mean, they don't even have a fucking network at this point. So
I don't really care, man. I just it's mentality, and with people like Gervonta, I don't. And with Dan Benavides is different, right? Because
yes, that's
obviously
what I'm saying.
he's being yeah, but he's just being ducked. It has nothing to do with him being on a promoter or a network.
No,
It's
but
just
he's what I'm saying is Benavides is actually making these like pretty good fights happen, but PBC just cannot promote these fucking fights.
remember when like 7 years ago we used to everybody was saying that PBC was like a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, but then you look at I think yeah, but then you look at these other promotional companies and you look at the MMA as well, right? Companies like PFL, Ryzen, like dude, there's endless capital for these fucking retarded fucking sports. Like
But why? What's the point?
endeavors. Well, because people I think are just swayed easily when it comes to combat sports. Like it's a market that not many people know about. So they want to invest money in it and see if it can work. And I
But
just
you
think people
remember the
love
era. You
combat.
remember the era of Al Heyman. I don't know if we're still in it, by the way. I have no
Mm,
idea. But the
He's
era of
still
Al
there,
Heyman
yeah.
was he was paying like so much money for these fighters, and
Sure.
there was no return on it. So how long can that last? Is that still fucking going on? That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, it probably maybe he does have ties to just shady fucking people that have a shitload of money. But I think that's died down too because like the problem now is that PBC is they're not even guaranteeing fights anymore. So like these guys, they don't have the money to have fighters fight 3, 4 times a year. Like all of their fighters fight 2 fights or less a year. you
Like he
know.
would have like Keith Thurman fighting Ski Mask Joe's cousin for
Bro, those
$8 million. It's just ridiculous, man.
dude, honestly though, that year of PBC, remember, I think it was 2014. I think that might have been the best year of boxing ever.
2014.
Yeah, you remember that's when like Matisse was fighting Danny. Remember
Oh,
all those incredible like cards, like Thurman Collazo in Brooklyn with like two other really good fights, you know?
don't bring that fight up, man.
So,
Matisse, Danny Garcia.
Soul
Mm.
Snatcher. But
La Máquina, what did you do to me? Anyway, let's
uh
not bring up old traumas, but
but yeah, man, boxing's pretty shot. It's pretty dead. Except Turkey. So I mean, yeah, more props to Turkey, man. If it wasn't for him, I think boxing would be fucked.
Canelo is the only one who's not swayed by the turkey money, right? He was like, "Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not gonna. I'm the A side. I'm the elephant room."
I mean, which he is, but he's also not fighting anybody relevant anymore.
I
You know,
really want that Benavides fight, man.
it's not happening anymore. I thought there was a window of possibility, but not anymore.
It's such a good fight. It's such a great fight. Just perfect personalities, perfect style
I
matchup.
think the only way it would happen is if Benavidez somehow becomes undisputed at light heavyweight.
Why would you think that would make Canelo fight him?
Because it would give Canelo the opportunity. It would be easy access to get to become undisputed at another weight division.
Easy access,
Yes.
but he would have to go through him.
Well, that's still better than fighting four different fighters to become undisputed, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I think didn't you say that the whole reason he's not fighting it was because he knows it's going to be a tough ass fight?
I think that's mostly what it has to do with it, but also from his perspective, David doesn't bring anything to the table financially or legacy-wise. But hypothetically, if David wins his next fight and then Bivol, Beterbiev winner, right? They get all the belts. And Turkey has stated that he wants to put Benavidez against the winner of that fight. I think that's the fight to make.
Dude, shout out to His Excellency, man.
Yeah. No, I mean, shout outs to him, man. Like he stated numerous times, like but for some reason he wants the Crawford fight, which I don't know, which I don't understand, but he wants to put Canelo Crawford. Fuck that fight. But if Benavidez does fight the winner of that Bivol matchup, then I think there's a slim possibility that the fight happens. But that's the only path to how that fight ever materializes.
Why do you say fuck that fight? You think it's a clown fight or what?
Crawford Canelo?
Yeah.
It just does nothing for Canelo's legacy at all.
Okay, but as a viewer, as a fan, do you still say fuck that fight, or do you
Yes, it doesn't
aren't you a
intrigue
bit
me.
intrigued?
No, because I saw Crawford fight Madrimov. Did you watch that fight at junior middleweight?
I've definitely watched it. I probably don't remember it, but
Yeah, his Crawford's too old. Like people like think Crawford's like a spry chicken. Like the dude's
no, it's not.
37 years old.
Yeah.
And his power, if it didn't move up to 154, it sure as hell isn't moving up to 168 against probably the fighter in boxing that has the best chin.
Yeah, if Crawford had his 31-year-old legs, it could be very interesting.
Yeah, and Crawford
Jesus.
is yeah, that's one thing I noticed like very, very quickly against Errol and Madrimov is as great of a fighter as he is, like he stood in the pocket against both of those guys in that fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He whooped that ass.
Try that against Canelo. I mean,
Uh,
stop. So, no, I have no interest in that fight at all. It does nothing for Canelo's career.
no, it absolutely does nothing for him. He has everything to lose. And Crawford has everything to gain.
Yeah.
But you're right. But I mean, Crawford in his prime had some crazy ass legs, man. I've said this before. He could turn those wheels on for 12 rounds straight, no problem. Absolutely no problem.
Yes, but
Lara style, you know?
it's yeah, I agree, but it's also like that wasn't his best boxing style in my opinion. Because you remember, like, the criticism of Crawford early on in his career was that he got clipped all the time, that he was defensively very shaky. Like, I
Mm.
actually think he does his best work in mid distance.
Yeah, and just mixing it up, you know. You can't
Sure.
do the Erislandy Lara for 12 rounds only. Like that's
Unless you're Arislandi Lara.
yeah, but then you also have other problems, right? I'm
Sure.
not a fan of that style unless you really make it look dominant. You always gonna have problem on the scorecards and shit like that.
I
So
don't know, man. As much as I like Canelo, bro, as much as I love Canelo, when I was watching that fight live, I thought he lost the fight.
I thought so too,
Yeah. So,
but he didn't.
but yeah, that's what happens when you have a big penis and a nice jawline, I guess. But I don't know,
Okay.
man.
Yeah, I'm
We,
sensing a pattern here in our conversation.
yeah, that'll be our first Patreon episode. The five best,
Most hung fight.
but and we could do it the South Park calculations, not
Well, there's many ways we can do it. We can do mathematical, or we can just watch the weigh-ins live stream it, and then just analyze it based on
but
the
that's not a
girth.
very accurate portrayal though,
But we
right?
don't have any empirical data, dude, to fucking do the math.
Because some people may be showers but not growers. There's so many different variables to take into consideration.
And now you're adding a whole bunch of complexity in the formula, bro.
Like light factors, some people can't get it up for a crowd, right? Dehydration, lack of food intake. What does that have to do with, how much it's able to show its full potential, right?
Yeah, but the problem is how much does it matter, you know? We all know the formula is length divided by girth times angle of the shaft squared times yaw, right? So
Yes.
if you add room temperature in there as well, it's just gonna get messy.
Right.
You really need to nail
I
down the
love
formula.
that. I love that scene where the girl raises her hair. She's like, "What's a penis?" Okay, we could delete the last 10 minutes of this podcast, I
Fuck
think.
no, man.
But yeah, man. I don't know. When should we do our next show? Like after the Beterbiev card?
I manage the production, you manage the fucking agenda
Yeah,
because we
let's do that.
shit.
We'll go live after Beterbiev Bivol 2.
Oh yeah, 1000%, dude. That's a fantastic fight.
I mean,
So
I wish you were a little bit more hyped on the Benavidez Morel fight.
why would I not be, dude? I always watch Dave Benavidez. I'm a
I don't
fan.
know. And if we have time, maybe we can go live after that fight. That fight's on February 1st, so about five weeks from now.
But is I don't know anything about Morel. Like, is he a contender? Like, is he legit? Is he a threat?
Yes. Yeah.
And he's a boxer, right?
And
He's just
he's
like
big. This is the thing, is like he's just as big as David is. So he's a slick boxer with power. And unlike I think most of David's fight, like they're equal in size.
let's hope that David has not been doing the old sniffer
Nah,
lately.
bro. I don't think he has, man. But I think David is one of those fighters who might be better with the sniff. He may be the John Jones of boxing.
I'd
So
love to run into David in a club, man. He'd probably fucking throw a bottle over my head, but still, it'd be a good ass time.
yeah, he'd probably offer you coke right away. Actually, he'd be the best connect ever, bro.
Hey David, I'm a huge fan, man. Oh, thanks, man. Hey, you want a line?
Yeah, and then you shake his wife's hand. He's like, "You trying to feel up my girl, motherfucker?" It's like, "No,
I think
bro."
he would be if I would be like, oh no, thanks, David. I don't. It's like, what? What, you telling me you don't want to party with me?
No, I think he'd be like, "What? You're a cop?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
Starts frisking me.
yeah. If you don't do this, I'm going home, bro. Like, oh shit.
Uh, I could really see that, man, with a tense look on his face. Oh, what a
Yeah.
guy. I hope he gets his big fight one day, man.
So
He deserves it. He's good fun. Must see TV. You feel me?
yeah, but
Ah, man.
just
Shall we
yeah,
start wrapping this shit up?
yeah. Maybe
Or yeah.
that'll be the next one, man. But yeah, just props to Usyk, right? Fucking awesome. What a
Is that your closing
just
thoughts?
awesome and just what a career. Like I don't think anybody would have expected him to be that great or this great, you know? Like after going from fucking like being in Loma's like shadows, you remember? Because when they were both in camp together, nobody was really talking about Usyk. Like he was like a hardcore.
Yeah, and he struggled. He struggled also with like an image problem, right? Nobody. He wasn't marketable.
Yeah.
That was the problem with Usyk. Nobody wanted to watch him fight. It was boring as
Yeah.
fuck. At least a cruiser. And now he's a superstar.
He is. He's like a fucking like a niche superstar, you know? Like definitely not a crossover name, but people like definitely fuck with him. So
I feel like he has gone also mainstream because he's Ukrainian, right? So a lot of people have heard of
yeah,
him. I mean, it's sort of the bigger picture, and then the hardcore boxing fans all love
sure.
him. So he sort of caters to everyone. It's fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
All right, Brad, give us some final thoughts then.
I just did, bro. I don't know what to say anymore. I don't know. Merry Christmas. I hope all of our listeners,
You fucking unprofessional.
dude, come on. We do a fucking like bi-yearly like podcast, bro. Like, what do you want from me?
Dude, the streets are always asking me,
Yeah?
like, when is the new coalition dropping? Yeah, bro, I have people haunting me on fucking Twitter.
Alright. It's X, by the way.
We gotta apologize a little bit to the fans, dude.
Not much apologies, but I don't know, man. Just boxing is so volatile, bro. It's like this sport is so hard to like stay invested in year round, in my opinion.
Well, maybe it's just us. Maybe we lost a little bit of passion for it.
Yeah, I mean, my
There's
fighters,
still people that are live streaming every day. There's still people
which
that
is
are just going
fucking
live.
nuts. Which is again, they talk about the drama of the sport, right? The fucking
Yeah, they have.
behind the scenes bullshit that they have no inside knowledge of. That's just pure speculation. Like, so I don't know, man. For me, I'm just like I'm high on fighters that I've followed for a long time. Like Bam. Bam is probably my favorite fighter to watch. I
Mm.
love Inoue. Um, but there's really not too many fight. I mean, we could talk about Munguia, right? Getting fucking knocked the fuck out against some unknown in Tijuana. That was fucking nuts. But other than that, like,
Oh
there's
yeah.
not many things that really keep me that invested in the sport, man.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you do tune in, it feels like home again. You know, it keeps the events more special. It's not very diluted, right? You have once every couple of months, you have a big fight. You tune
Yeah,
in, get that nostalgic feeling once again, and yeah, I go back to the old Twitter as well. You know, just have some fun, talk shit.
yeah. The occasional Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight.
No, fuck that. I didn't. I still to this day haven't watched it.
Yeah.
I will never.
So
Fuck that fight. Fuck everybody that's actually talked about that
yeah.
shit. You're a disgrace.
All right. What about you? What are your final thoughts?
Well, yeah. Now you actually derailed my thoughts, man. Now I was thinking like there's been rumors of Connor versus Paul
In
happening.
India.
That no, it's not gonna be in India, but I would watch 100%. That I would definitely watch. But my final thoughts are, bro. Fantastic heavyweight fight. Um, it was a beautiful outcome. No bullshit. They tried to drag it down the route of robbery and all that nonsense. Absolute ridiculous. Um, it was meant to be. The right guy won, and Usyk is a fucking legend. Congratulations to him. And yeah, it was good to chop it up with you again, young Daniel.
Yeah, likewise, man. I'm just blessed to be in this position another year. Wishing all of our listeners health, longevity, and just wonderful time with your families. You know,
Indeed. Merry Christmas to
Merry
everyone.
Christmas. You celebrate, right? Come on, we got to be politically correct. Because not everyone celebrates Christmas.
Alhamdulillah, brother.
Inshallah. Ishballah.
Shout out to everyone. And yeah, we'll wrap it up there, man. See y'all in maybe a couple of months. We'll talk to you again. Peace.